running in the race to clear UPSC exams. Most of them doesn't even care about the discipline of history. History, if you see, is being politicized, but still it holds its ground as the makers of our identity. History is what we are and how we are what we are today. The process of evolution of the modern man and how we adapt to our society is the history. Let me share you an interesting anecdote from my school days. I was in class 11th, I believe 12th. Then there was a question on the Mansabdari system of the Mughal Empire in a class test. So the teacher asked us to explain the Mansabdari system. Thanks to my hold on language skills, what I did was I drew a sketch of a land. I divided into different parts and write am on it, and I explained the image that it is the mansabs. These are the mansabs and this collective is the mansab. The system that controls is mansabdari system. So yeah, I got zero in that, but I got a lesson that history could be more interesting, and we can make it more interesting by using not just facts and figures, but pictorial images and exploring them through heritage sites. That is when I thought we should go to heritage walks more often, because in our school we didn't have the facility of going to heritage walks. My love for Assam and Nagaland and all the seven sister states of the Northeast started when I was in class 10th. I was in Kendra Vidyalaya, and they have this regional social science exhibition every year where they host a quiz competition. So when I participated, the topic of the quiz was the seven sister states of India. And I did participate in that, but I couldn't qualify it. But since then, I have been reading about the Northeast. I have been reading about its culture, and the Assamese gamusha became a part of my everyday life. So this is a short anecdote from my life about my love for history, and especially for the love for the culture of Northeast. So history can explain the importance that impacts current events and provide meaning beyond facts and dates that influence events today. We do not have a dead history, we have a living history. We live in history presently. When I was in school, most students found boredom in between the pages of history textbooks. But why it is so essential to learn history? What is the importance of history? Why history matters to young people like us? History matters because it helps us as an individual and as societies to understand why our societies are the way they are and what value they hold. But unfortunately, in our society, history is still considered to be an inferior subject than science and commerce. History does molds the outlook of the younger generation to the society and the world. As Martin Luther King once said that we are not the makers of history, we are made by history. That is what Martin Luther King very famously said. And as India is about to be the nation with the largest youth population by the end of 2020, as the statistics suggest, it is important for us, the young people of India, to understand, to know the past of the nation. Without the past, one can never create the foundation of the future. History teaches you how India has always respected the unity in diversity. We are not like the West, where all the cultures came together and got mixed up and uh, became one, lost their all uniqueness. It is not a melting point. India is like a salad, if you use as a metaphor, where every culture is a distinct vegetable in a salad, and that makes it more beautiful. So India still have the beauty of different cultures and ways of life that are peacefully coexisting. Honest attempts must be made by the young people themselves to involve their friends and colleagues into exploring history for creating a better future. We started Karwaan with the same idea to promote history and India's rich culture among the students. We started from Delhi, and now we have volunteers from all four corners of the nation. History makes you question. It encourages you to think critically, to reason. And while I say this, a question that strikes my mind is that, is history objective? Is there a true history? No. I believe that history, some way or the other, depends on interpretations. It is subjective to the historian's interpretation of the past. But on the same page, history also doesn't depend on just facts. Now, coming to the importance of heritage, we must first question what is heritage. According to UNESCO, there's a definition by UNESCO that heritage is our legacy from the past, what we live with today, and what we pass on to the future generations. Our cultural and natural heritage are both irreplaceable source of life and inspiration for the future generations. India has a rich heritage. We have heritage sites. We have our age-old cultures and traditions in various parts of the nation, and they are all different from each other. We have our ancient texts and epics. We have our dance forms and craft forms. All these are irreplaceable and it is invaluable. And the need of the hour is to protect them. The architectural heritage, especially, is in danger to get extinct. When we started Karwan, I still remember the news came in that some pillars at Hampi were destroyed by rain, and it was a archaeological survey of India protected monument. What also pains me is the fact that young people go to heritage sites and they start inscribing their name with a heart sign and Rahul loves Priya, on heritage monuments that severely damage the heritage and architectural properties and heritage value of those monuments in big way. Just a moment. I think this case is because we have seized history just to a classroom, just to the four walls of a classroom. we do not we do not teach history out of the classroom. Okay, that is the biggest mistake that we have done. History is all about explorations. You cannot teach history in a classroom. Yes, you can make students rote learn. You can force students to learn the facts and dates, make them a calendar, like this happened on this date. Historians are not calendars. Okay, I might not remember the date of a certain event, but historians must be able to analyze the events in the past. And in Karwan, we recently had a debate on, does uh, our understanding of the past get influenced by our understanding of the present? So it's a long debate that is still going on, and I think most of the young students who are here, almost 65 of them, will go to their home, will go to their after this lecture, they'll start exploring this. Ki what we are studying today, how is it influenced by the present? There's a news in recently there's news came that a certain museum is going to be renamed after a great warrior of India, just because a certain political regime understand that period as a period of invaders. Okay, so how does that understanding develops is very important for us to understand. You know, I am not saying that you should denounce that way of thinking of history. No, they might have their own facts. Okay, so I'll mention about these debates in few minutes. So history is all about explorations, as I said. To understand history, you need a connect with the outer world, with nature, with society, because as as E.H. Carr has said in his What is History, that historian cannot be separated from the society. So society is also a very important part of our understanding of the past, and we also should have an understanding of the politics, because all those factors does affect our understanding of the past. So as Ted Koppel very humorously quoted, that history is a tool used by politicians to justify their intentions. But I would not go into that, because as a student, we should have an open mind. We should accept all the understandings of the past. And as I said, we should critically analyze, critically think where history lies. Does it lie in what the Marxist says? Does it lie in what the nationalist says? Or does it lie in between both of them? I think that is very important to understand as history students. Let me now come to the part where I will discuss about India's future, how India's not just India's future, but the world's future depends or should take inspiration from India's past. We often say that India's past is the key to world's future. Now let's understand how. In around 500 BC, there were spaces for public discussions called Kutuhalashalas. These Kotuhalashalas were present in the Indian subcontinent, where Jain, Buddhist, and Hindu monks would come and would gather to have a discussion on any topic that was going on in the society. As we have progressed, in my view, we are missing on the importance of dialogues. India's history teaches us the long tradition of dialogues and debates. And there was a Jain doctrine called the Anekantavada. And it is important to understand this doctrine that no single specific statement can describe the nature of existence and the absolute truth. It literally means nothing is one-ended. It's multi-dimensional. Every debate is multi-dimensional. I might be saying that history is objective, not objective. Somebody will say history is objective. He is also right. I am also right. This is the importance of debate. That you are also right at your place. I am also right. I believe in this. You believe in that. I'm not saying you are wrong. You should not say I am wrong. This is anekantavada. There is no single truth. Now, moving forward, I believe because unfortunately many in India have lost the importance of debate and discussions, not just in India but also in the world as general. Every country is a nuclear powered country. They all are nuclear powers. In such an era, the importance of Indian history and the doctrine of Anekantavada would help us in making this world a better place to live. There's also a tradition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is a family. So when we teach ourselves the doctrine of Anekantavad once again, it is our duty, the young people should teach the word, the doctrine of Anekantavada. As India is about to be led by the youth, there is a need to understand the traditions of debate, discussions, dissent. That is very important, not just in a democracy, but also in the world. Now, coming to a very interesting topic, I think most of us know about the Harappan civilization, the Bronze Age civilization. The water management system people in the Dholavira used was way ahead in sense of technology than what we use in the metro cities today. One could never imagine that you know that water management system would fail in Delhi in the recent past. So, okay, so you have to understand that still in 2020, if you can flow water in Dholavira, the water management system is still, I think, very uh, effective, that it would work very fine till now. Okay, those technologies are way better than our pipes that we use in our water management systems. When the world is struggling to find solutions to problems like climate change and environmental crisis, we see how still many tribal cultures in India does nature worship. They still respect the environment. So we have to understand that many answers to the world's problem lies in India's culture, India's age-old culture, India's age-old heritage and history. When the globalization came, the blue genes from the West came to India. Many of us forgot that the Indian sense of the Indian way of thinking, if you can say. And we slowly and gradually started adopting the Westerns. We started copying the Western ideas. It is good to adopt, it is good to collaborate, but it is, I think, very saddening to copy the West and and to start forgetting our own cultures. I think it is also a way to, a new way to colonize the word. And some of us started forgetting our own history and heritage. We started copying the West as, like, the glass buildings in India. In developed cities, you see the glass buildings like they have in America. Knowing the fact that India is a hot country, the temperatures are so high in India, and glass buildings would make would generate more heat. Okay, so I think I think those things should be kept in mind while we adopt to the West. Heritage and traditions should be respected in India by Indians and should be promoted to the world. Heritage sites are in India seen as picnic spots. I think many of us go to picnics at heritage sites. It is nothing wrong in calling them a picnic spot. I think it is a fair way to increase the public interest in heritage sites. But it is very wrong to make it a place to litter. And as heritage activists, we all, you know, uh, I myself always say that, okay, call it a picnic spot, but do not make it, consider it to be your home. Keep it clean. And that is what Karwaan has been doing in promoting history and heritage among students. We try to make them aware about the importance that these history sites, you know, have for us, and that will guide in our future, in our, in our endeavors when we are going to lead the world. And this, somewhere or the other, leads us to think that why this negligence of history persists in India. India have a very rich tradition of history called itihasa. It is the Indian sense of history, which was, in a way, an oral tradition of history. We call it the Smriti texts like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. These all are part of the oral traditions. You see different variations, different versions of Ramayana existing in India. More than 30 of them you will find right away on Google. And they have different versions The story is completely different in most of the versions of Ramayana. So why this negligence? Maybe it is because the colonial mindset that India was never a very progressive society, and it is the Britishers that came to India, they colonized and made us civilized. Maybe that is one reason, or maybe it is, as I said, the globalization's side effects on the young minds. And I would leave that argument on the historians to think. But as students of history, I think we all, even these teachers, we all should have an open mind to the historical understandings presented by historians, and all historians, even there are great nationalist historians, there are great Marxist historians, there are great post-colonialist historians. We must respect all the understandings, but we should have our own mind, our own critical understanding of the past. That yes, if it happened that way, why? The questioning why comes from studying the past. It is the importance of history that makes you question not just historians, but to the society, to the government, or to anybody. It develops your brain, it develops the understanding of the world, how it functions. So I think history does play a great role. In my lecture, as I come to an end, I mentioned the problems. I mentioned the problems we face. It was a very pessimist view of doing a history where you focus on the negatives only. But now I'll come to the positives. As India is a young country, we have almost 57 now young students. Why don't we as students come together and create an organization or a movement and name it as a heritage corp, where what we do is we ask each other to document their region where they live, go and do a survey, see all the heritage monuments, write about them. Let's create a database of it. And if somebody wish to see like a fort near my place, just he have to write fort near Kanpur, and he'll get all the details of it. I think that would create an interest in the public at large. And and I think these brainstorming sessions among the youth should be facilitated by Indian universities. As I said, the Kotuhalashalas, not of the monks but of the students now, are more important, where they'll discuss, they will debate, with keeping the doctrine of Anekantavad in mind. Please be sure of that. We need peaceful debates. India's tradition of non-violence should be respected. And this is how the importance of history comes to play the central role. Not just in creating India a better place to live, but the whole world a better place to live. With the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Let there be no wars. Let there be no violence in the not in just not in the nation, but also not in the world. And who else will do it than the students themselves? Teachers won't do it. They have their jobs. They won't do it. Okay, the old people won't do it. It is on the youth shoulder that we have to take the lead in spreading the knowledge of history among us, and in spreading the knowledge and love for heritage. And I would request all the students, if you do not know any organization, mail to Karwaan, join Karwaan as volunteers, work with us, and we would really, we would try to create a word better place. I think with that I would open the floor to questions. If teachers have some questions, students have some question, I would love to answer those. I'm really sorry I couldn't be as organized as I wanted because I was a little busy with some work yesterday, so I couldn't prepare much. So I'm really sorry. I apologize for that. I think you are on mute, sir.
Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ishan. Now, if we have any question, participants, you are requested to write the question in chat box, or you can unmute, or you can ask directly to Ishan.
They still have to read history to develop the art of
Yeah.
question.
Uh,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
ask.
Kubhi.
So when was Karwan formed, and then what is the long-term plan for this?
Our Karwan was formed last year in September, and I think the long-term plan is to keep spreading the message, to keep spreading the idea of history uh, among the youngsters. And we recently started our collaboration with an organization that works with the teachers, school teachers. So we are trying to make a bridge between students and teachers in spreading the idea of history, in spreading the love for the heritage. So that is the long term plan.
Yeah. And Nandita, yes, she asked about, sir, if we will join Karwan, how it will help us. Karwan, Karwaan. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you join Karwan, it will help us to understand or critically analyze the past, because we write articles on our page, and those articles are very well researched, and we do not fall into the binary of left and right in history. Okay, we keep an open mind. We analyze ourselves that, okay, if he's saying something, what was the motive behind writing this, or what was the logic the historian used, and then we create the articles that I think. So the biggest gain is never a monetary gain. The biggest gain for a human is the gain of an intellect, of knowledge. So I think Karwan is not an organization, it is a group of students. Okay, Karwan is not a company that would give you certificates, or people come to Karwan, they join Karwan to make them more knowledgeable of the past, to help them in pursue their researching skills, I believe. So that is the main motive of Karwan, to promote the idea. So if you wish to join, if you want to learn, you can. And we often do sessions with historians. So if you can come to Delhi, hopefully have some great conversations.